Yo, what's up, my guys? Last week I had the pleasure in hosting a friend of mine from Miami who came to see me here in Bucharest. Now, he's in his mid 40s and he's an average looking guy, maybe just slightly above average looking. Maybe I'd say he's a 6 out of 10. This guy slept with 1,000 women. Right, I know he's not lying because I've seen him in action. And he wouldn't lie to me because we're good friends now. We've known each other for about 2 years. We built a really good relationship. And I've just been super interested in finding out, how have you slept with this many women? What the hell? What's your secret? I'm like fascinated by this stuff, right? And I said to him, like, I want to learn how you've done this. I want to show my audience. Can I interview you? So I interviewed him, and there's a 30-minute audio interview. He doesn't want to be named and shamed. He doesn't want his face on the internet. He didn't want a YouTube video. So that was really annoying. I didn't manage to get that done with him, but I did manage to get an audio recording. And he doesn't want his voice. He just doesn't want to be caught, right? He just wants to be completely anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. I have to respect that. And the transcript of that is available in my school community, which if you click in the description below, you will go to my school community, sign up. We've got a great group of guys there. That transcript is exclusive to my school community. So anything really that's going to take you to the next level is going to be in that community, but I will try and give you as much value as I can in my YouTube videos. Anyway, this guy stayed with me for a couple of nights. We spent a bit of time together. I've obviously been watching him do his game over the past couple of years, but we did that audio transcript and I got into deeper levels as to how and what were the key takeaways really from how I spent, how this guy has managed to lay 1,000 women. And he's in his mid 40s and he's done most of it from 35 up to 45. Imagine 100 women a year. Dude, that is an insane number. Russell Brand slept with 2,000, and he's got a very high level of status. So imagine what kind of skills you need in order to lay 1,000 girls. So here we go. I've got some notes here in front of me. These are some of the takeaways. So he was a late bloomer. He was a geeky guy with an analytical background, done a PhD in computer science. Wasn't necessarily like the most social kid growing up, right? So he was quite introverted, computer science, geeky kind of PhD dude. So imagine. He told me that he actually wasn't successful with women at a younger age, and he had about 2 relationships up to the age of 35. I think it was 32 to 35. And one of them was a divorce, unfortunately. But up until then, he said he didn't have much success with women at all, right? So if you're a late bloomer, fear not. This man was a late bloomer, 32, 33, 35, 34 onwards. Okay, so super impressive that he didn't do so well at the beginning, and then he started doing, so what was it? What were the key things that helped him do so well later on? So he says that it's kind of simplicity and confidence, that he attributes a lot of his success to simplicity and a natural level of confidence. Okay, he keeps it simple. So unlike me at 21, he didn't read no game. He didn't bother learning any of that stuff. He doesn't care too much about looking amazing or knowing exactly what to say or what sort of canned pickup lines to use. He doesn't use any of that kind of stuff. He keeps his interactions super simple, and I've seen him in action. Now, he also likes to sort of engage in conversations with women in any scenario, which I think is amazing. Any scenario, he'll just be like, hey, I'm just looking for the strawberries in the supermarket. I can't really find them. The guy keeps it so simple. I just love his level of simplicity, and he uses it in any possible scenario. So he doesn't dedicate certain amounts of time to go and speak to women in public or anywhere. He avoids sort of complexual game techniques, focuses on just being very straightforward, situational, always about situational stuff, situational conversation, doesn't necessarily have to come up with canned or interesting things to say. Okay, so that's what I found really, really fascinating about this guy. Now, the other thing is he's got a very calm energy and a very sort of non-threatening approach. Calm, super easy, he's not aggressive. He doesn't also come up like, hey, I think you're beautiful. He's just like, hi. I hope you're having a nice day. How's it going? Super simple, and it really seems to work absolutely effectively well. Even I'm learning stuff from this guy, to be honest. So he's been described as having calm energy by other people, and that makes women feel comfortable. Okay, his energy is just comforting, and that eventually he gets into their pants because he's just, they feel him as non-threatening. He avoids being overpowering or trying too hard, which is actually appreciated by women. Women don't appreciate you just trying too hard and constantly sticking it on them and overly texting them. And he talks about topics that actually interest women. Okay, so he talks about topics that interest them, never talks about business, never talks about politics. Minimal investment in his appearance and lifestyle. I mean, this guy doesn't seem to spend much money on his lifestyle. He's not doesn't take girls out on big fancy dates, does beach walks as he lives in Miami, and he does coffee dates And he's like, hey, do you just want to go for a walk? This guy's not trying to overly impress a girl with like dinners and fancy stuff, and he still gets results. So it just goes to show you don't need to spend all this money. It's just not how this shit works. You don't need to overly impress her by buying her loads of stuff and flying her out to here and taking her on holiday here. This guy's just going for a coffee and going for a walk with girls. Like, if you just set the tone, and it works with you. If not, and if she's some like, oh, she just wants to sit on a yacht or she wants to go to like the best restaurant in town, then he's like, yeah, I just kind of move on. It doesn't make sense. Or I just try and maneuver her into my life and into my frame, which I loved. So doesn't spend money on lavish dates or expensive things. He just doesn't need to do that. He also, the other thing I found really interesting about him is his IG has no pictures of him. Can you believe that? His Instagram have 0 pictures of him. That is absolutely wild. His WhatsApp photo is not even a picture of him. So it's like super mysterious. So he does most of his work in day game, and he does most of his work face to face. No dating app presence. This is like revolutionary shit. No dating app presence and no IG pictures and not even an IG profile picture. He says he doesn't really like taking pictures of himself, and he doesn't really feel, he's just like, no, I've never really been that into it. Right? It might also be his generation. He doesn't drink alcohol or take drugs. Fascinating. Most of us have to drink alcohol and have this level of Dutch courage to speak to girls. This guy doesn't drink any alcohol or take any drugs. He's just out there socializing, communicating with people, and just getting on with it. Now, he does say that he keeps alcohol at his house because when a girl does come back to his house, he's like, hey, I've got these drinks. Okay, so that's key to know. He's like, I always make sure that they are comfortable, they've got enough drinks, and there's drinks back at the house or whatever else they want. Wink, wink. So like whatever else someone might be interested in, any sort of party, drugs, whatever you want to call it. I imagine that he keeps some of it at the house. If anyone wants and he's having like an after party, then it's always available. Then people don't have to go like and find it. And that usually ruins a lot of situations for men who are trying to get laid. I'm not saying you should use those substances to get laid. I'm just saying there are times where people come back to yours, there's an after party, there's things happening, and it just makes the night a bit more interesting. And if you have it available, then hey, no one needs to leave your house. He's developed a level of natural social skills. Okay, so he's now just, when I got in with him, he would talk to the taxi driver, he would talk to people on the street, he would kind of just talk to anyone, which I found absolutely fascinating. And I was just like, I love the fact that this guy's so talkative and so friendly. And I think that's a key thing that you need to develop. Just getting out of this antisocial weird zone that we're all in. Just like speaking to people on the street, speaking to people in supermarkets, speaking to the taxi driver. The guy was just social and he was nice. And he was just asking real basic things like, hey, do you know where we could get some nice traditional Romanian food? Hey, do you know where, like, what's a nice traditional Romanian dish? Simple, straightforward, to the point stuff. Wasn't trying to be overly impressive. And like, I think girls are a bit tired of these guys that are just trying too much. Girls just want someone who's just cool and laid back and just plodding along. They love that. They love that cool, laid back kind of just doesn't give a shit, just asking you questions and is just outcome independent. Doesn't care whether he gets laid with you or not. So I think that really seems to be working for him. He doesn't rely on dating apps, like I said, approaching people in any environment, and he focuses on creating a kind of comfortable situational interaction rather than direct pickup lines, okay? Now, he's also persistent and has a large pipeline, okay? It seems like he does have some time on his hands, but he's persistent. He will text girls, and if they don't respond to him, he'll actually text them again. So I'm not about this double texting life, but he's just like, he's made me believe that double texting is absolutely fine. So he'll just double text a girl and he'll be like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, he'll be like, hey, didn't hear from you. Hope you're doing well. I'm out this afternoon for a walk. You fancy joining? Like, just puts it back out there, which I found super interesting. Because I'm like, oh, once I've sent a message, that's it. I'm not sending another message. He's like, why not? He's like, who cares? He's like, drop your pride, drop your ego. So I found that really, really interesting. Another thing is he is kind of willing to call a woman multiple times before giving up, which I found was great. That level of persistence I thought was really, really interesting. Now he does play the numbers game. He does have a large pipeline of girls, okay, because you need the time and you need to be speaking to a lot of different girls in order to have a large pipeline, right? So you need to be speaking to a number of different women, not just like one or two. So he's obviously got the time. But because he incorporates that in his daily life, he has a list of loads of girls that he's speaking to. Now, He is finding it challenging to find a long-term relationship, right? So that's interesting. He's finding it challenging probably because he is based in Miami, probably because of his travel schedule, and probably because he is sort of, like pushing to invite a girl back to his. At that point, it's if you want to build a proper relationship, I don't think you want to be trying to get a girl back to your house as soon as possible. Proper relationships, girls that really respect themselves, they will back off and they won't give it to you as fast as you want it, right? So they will make you wait, and that way you can build a proper relationship, and you realize that she doesn't just open her legs to anyone. But with him, it's interesting that he's actually struggling to find a meaningful, long-term relationship with a girl, right? So he can get laid, he's got that skill set, but as you can see, there are different skill sets needed for different types of styles. If you want to find a relationship, there's a different skill set to getting laid, okay? And I teach all of this stuff on my channel. So here are the reasons for success. There's 5 reasons I've written down. The first one is his kind of confidence and his approachability. He's approachable, he's easy, he's confident, he just walks up to girls, he doesn't give a shit. It doesn't matter. If it fails, he'll just walk up to the next one, and he'll do it in various environments. So that's absolutely key. Now, his ability to make women feel at ease, his kind of non-threatening and calm demeanor, that's really, really helpful. He's just like non-threatening, he's chilled, he just puts her at ease, talks about what she wants, and he just gets on with it and eventually just like invites her back to his house. And usually they say, yeah, cool. He focuses on situational interactions, so he's always talking about things around him. He's not talking about business or politics. He's making these interactions, he's making her feel comfortable. He's talking about things that she wants to talk about. Maybe he'll talk about like her past relationships. He likes talking about relationships to them. He thinks that really gets them in the mood. Persistence and patience. He's quite patient, but he's also persistent at the same time. He will call, he will double text. He doesn't mind double texting. He's not like, no, I won't double text. How dare she not respond to me? He doesn't give a shit about that, to be honest. And he puts like minimal investment strategy. He doesn't spend much money on women. This guy does not spend much money on women at all. It's absolutely incredible. Also, he doesn't. He just has no external validation. No pictures of him on social media. No picture of him on his WhatsApp, which I found absolutely I found that absurd that he's still managing to get laid that often. This guy is an anomaly. It's fascinating. And then the experience and comfort around women. So he's just quite experienced. He's very comfortable around girls. He's just like really easygoing. He's not nervous at all. Like no anxiety, and like there's no real rehearsed strategies, right? So he's just super cool, super chilled. And it was just fascinating to spend time with this guy. And 1,000 lays is insane.